Every story begins somewhere, some with light, some in darkness. But here is where stories come to life. Stories you may have heard or never believed. So get ready, because now it's time to go to the world of stories. Don't forget to support and subscribe us. Don't miss today's story. It's full of adventure and excitement. Today's story is called The Prince and the Garden of Oranges and Citrons.
In a land where stories weave the fabric of reality, there was a king who ruled a grand kingdom. Within the walls of his opulent harem, he had 40 wives, each more beautiful than the last. Yet despite his wealth and power, none of these wives bore him a child. In his longing for an heir, he made a solemn vow: "If God grants me a son, I shall fill one great pool with honey and another with oil, so that the poor and destitute may come, take and eat to their heart's content." As fate would have it, his 40th wife gave birth to a son. The king's heart swelled with joy, and he ensured every comfort and luxury was provided for the mother, so she could raise the boy as she pleased, wrapped in love and splendor. Years passed, and the boy grew into a fine young man, reaching the age of 18. One day, as he passed by his father, the king, a sudden memory struck the ruler. "This boy was granted to us through prayers and vows," he thought, "and we have yet to fulfill our promise." Without delay, he issued a command. Outside the royal palace, 2 enormous pools were to be constructed, one filled with honey, the other with oil, for anyone to come and take freely. And so it was done. The poor flocked in droves, carrying bowls and jars, collecting the sweet honey and rich oil. Among them came an old hunchbacked woman, clutching a simple bowl, hoping to claim her share. As she approached the pool of oil, the king's son, standing on a balcony above, caught sight of her. Her hunched form and tattered appearance amused him, and in a moment of youthful mischief, he picked up a stone, took aim with his bow, and shot it toward her. By cruel chance, the stone struck the old woman's bowl, shattering it. The oil spilled onto the ground, wasted. The old woman looked up, her eyes locking onto the prince, and saw that it was he who had thrown the stone. Her voice trembled with anger as she spoke. "What curse can I cast upon you, the precious darling of the king? Go then, and may the toil of finding the orange and citron maiden be your fate." The prince stepped forward, intrigued. "Who is this orange and citron maiden?" he asked. The old woman replied, "That I do not know. Go ask those who do." Her words sank deep into the prince's heart. He went straight to his mother and asked, "Mother, who is the orange and citron maiden?" His mother's face grew serious. "Who told you of her?" she asked. "An old woman," he replied. She sighed and said, "They say beyond the city atop a mountain lies a garden, where the most beautiful maidens dwell within oranges and citrons. But beware, none who have ventured there in pursuit of them have ever returned alive." The prince's resolve hardened. "I will go and bring one of those maidens back," he declared. His mother pleaded with him, warning that greater men than he had gone and never returned. But he was steadfast. "My mind is made up," he said. "I must go and find the orange and citron maiden." Word reached the king that his son had set his heart on this perilous quest. He too tried to dissuade him, but the prince would not be swayed. "Then at least let me send guards and servants with you," the king offered. "No," the prince insisted, "I must go alone." So he chose a swift horse from the royal stables, packed a saddlebag with all he needed for the journey, and set out. After traveling 2 or 3 leagues from the city, he found himself in a vast desert. There, a radiant old man with a flowing white beard appeared before him. "Young man, may your journey be blessed," the old man said kindly. The prince shared his purpose. "I am going to the garden of orange and citron to bring back 1 or 2 of the maidens there." The old man's face grew grave. "Many have set out with that same desire, yet none have succeeded. I fear you may join them. Turn back, live comfortably in your city, and let this go." But the prince was resolute. "No, I will go no matter what." Seeing his determination, the old man sighed. "Very well, take this straight path until you reach a forest teeming with ferocious beasts. Push through their midst, ignoring their roars and bared teeth. Above all, do not look back. Keep moving forward until you emerge from the forest. Beyond it, you'll find a house where an old she-demon sits under a tree by the door. When you see her, greet her warmly, speak kindly, and ask her the way to the garden of orange and citron. She will guide you." The prince nodded. "Very well," he said, and rode on. As he neared the forest, the beasts charged at him, snarling and snapping. But he heeded the old man's advice, paying them no mind, never glancing back, and rode straight through until he emerged on the other side. There, just as foretold, sat an old she-demon under a tree by a house. The moment he saw her, he offered a warm greeting, and spoke to her with great courtesy. The she-demon looked at him and said, "Well, human, you've passed through the forest of spirits unharmed and reached me. Your star must shine brightly, and your wish may yet come true. Tell me, why are you here?" The prince replied, "I seek the garden of orange and citron." The she-demon nodded. "You've made it this far unscathed, so you may reach the garden safely. Listen closely. Follow this path to the top of the mountain. There, you'll find a black horse tied to a tree. Dismount your own horse, tie it in its place, and ride the black horse. It will carry you like lightning, covering a year's journey in a single day, straight to the garden's gate. When you see the garden from afar, hunt an animal in the plain and take it with you. At the gate, a dragon guards the entrance, sleeping. Throw the animal to it, and while it's distracted, slip inside. In the garden, where four paths meet, the trees form a canopy, and a demon sleeps at the foot of each. Stay mounted, pick an orange or citron, and ride out as fast as lightning. Ignore any sounds you hear. When you return to the tree where the black horse is tied, switch back to your own horse and leave the black one behind. The demons won't pursue you then." The prince thanked the she-demon and followed her directions. He reached the mountain's peak, found the black horse, tied his own in its place, and mounted it. The horse surged forward as if it had wings, making his vision blur with its speed. Within an hour, the garden's gate appeared in the distance. He reined in the horse, hunted a mountain goat, and slung it over the saddle. As he approached the gate, he saw the dragon just as the she-demon had described. When it stirred, he tossed the goat before it. The dragon pounced on the meal, and the prince slipped into the garden. Inside, he was struck breathless by the sight, a paradise of every flower, plant, and fruit tree imaginable. Riding on, he reached the heart of the garden where four paths converged. There, as foretold, a demon slept beneath each tree. He kept his nerve, and as he galloped back toward the gate, he reached up and plucked several oranges and citrons. The moment he picked the first, a cry rang out, "He's picking! He's picking!" The demon stirred, but before they could fully rouse, he grabbed 2 or 3 more fruits and raced out of the garden. As he fled, a voice bellowed, "Turn back, or you'll die!" But he ignored it, spurring his horse until he reached the tree where he had left his own. He tied the black horse back, mounted his own, and rode on. Passing the she-demon's house, he entered the forest again. The beasts charged once more, but he pressed forward without looking back until he emerged safely. By a stream, he dismounted to wash his face and drink. He pulled the oranges and citrons from his pockets, curiosity burning within him. "I'll open one to see what's inside," he thought. When he split the first fruit, a maiden as radiant as the full moon emerged. "Bread!" she cried. The prince quickly pulled bread from his saddlebag and offered it to her. But the moment it touched her lips, she collapsed, lifeless. Grief-stricken, he opened another fruit. A maiden even more beautiful appeared, crying, "Water!" He filled his cup from the stream and brought it to her lips, but before she could drink, she too died. One by one, he opened the fruits, and each maiden who emerged asked for something. Bread, water, or another need. But despite his efforts, each perished. Only one fruit remained, and his heart couldn't bear to open it, fearing she too would die. He tucked it away and set off for his city. Outside the city, he encountered the same hunchbacked old woman who had cursed him. She saw him and called out, "Tell me, by God, did you reach the garden of orange and citron?" The prince sighed, "I did. But what good was it? After endless trials, I picked several fruits, opened them, and beautiful maidens emerged, but all died. This one fruit is all that remains, and I dare not open it lest she perish too." The old woman nodded wisely. "If you want her to live, when you open it and the maiden emerges, if she asks for bread, give her water. If she asks for water, give her bread. Then she will live." With that she turned and left. By a stream under a willow tree, the prince dismounted and carefully opened the final fruit. A maiden emerged, more beautiful and pure than all the others. "Bread!" she cried. Remembering the old woman's words, he filled his cup with water and brought it to her lips. She drank, and instead of dying, she grew stronger, transforming into a stunning young woman, though entirely bare. She looked at him bewildered. "What am I doing here? Who are you?" The prince explained. "You are the orange and citron maiden, and I brought you from the garden to be my wife. I am the only son of the king of this land." She asked, "What now?" He replied, "I'll hide you here, go to the city to fetch clothes and bring you back in splendor." She agreed, saying, "Very well. I'll climb this willow tree until you return." She ascended the tree, and he rode toward the city. Now, let the maiden wait in the tree and listen to the whims of fate. Near that spot lived a village headman with his wife, child, and a dark-skinned servant girl. As the maiden hid in the tree, the servant girl came to the stream to wash the child's clothes. Glancing into the water, she saw the maiden's reflection and mistook it for her own. "Am I this beautiful and didn't know it?" she exclaimed. "I'll no longer be a servant. I should be the king's bride, with 100 servants of my own." Leaving the clothes unwashed, she stormed back home. Her mistress saw her return empty-handed. "Why haven't you washed the clothes?" she demanded. The servant girl huffed, "With this beauty, I won't wash clothes anymore. I've done enough." Her mistress scoffed, "What beauty? Go look in the mirror." The servant girl peered into the mirror and saw her own pock-marked face and coarse hair. Ashamed, she grabbed the clothes and returned to the stream. Again, she saw the maiden's reflection and thought it was hers. "My mistress must have tampered with that mirror to make me look ugly so I'd keep serving her." She fumed. She left the clothes unwashed, stormed back, and smashed the mirror with a stone. Her mistress was stunned. "Have you gone mad? Why did you break the mirror?" The servant girl retorted, "With my beauty, you had that mirror made to make me look bad so I'd stay your servant." Her mistress sighed. "Go look in the neighbor's mirror." The servant girl did, and seeing her true reflection, apologized and returned to the stream with the clothes and child. Once more, she saw the maiden's reflection and thought it was her own. Both mirrors were made by the same deceitful craftsman. "I'm beautiful. To hell with the child and its mother. I'll throw them in the stream and go straight to the king's palace." As she ranted aloud, the maiden in the tree couldn't help but laugh. The sound of laughter made the servant girl look up. She saw the maiden and realized the reflection was hers, not her own. Quickly she washed the clothes, cleaned the child, and returned home. Hiding a kitchen knife under her shirt, she went back to the tree. She called up sweetly, "Dear girl, let me come up beside you for a moment. Lower your braid so I can climb." The trusting maiden let down her long braid, and the servant girl climbed up. She asked, "What brings you here?" The maiden recounted her entire tale, from the garden to the prince's plan to fetch clothes. The servant girl cooed, "Let me comb your hair." Under this pretense, she drew the knife, slit the maiden's throat, and threw her body into the stream. From the maiden's blood that spilled by the bank, an orange tree sprouted. Days later, the prince returned with a silken dress, a jeweled crown, a palanquin, and attendants to escort the maiden. But when he reached the tree, he froze. Instead of his radiant maiden, there sat the dark-skinned servant girl. "Why did it take you so long to bring a dress?" she snapped. The prince was baffled. Her words matched the maiden's, but her appearance did not. "You were so fair, why are you so dark now?" he asked. "The sun burned me," she replied. "And these pock marks?" "A crow pecked my face." "Where are your long braids?" "The wind carried them away." With no other choice, the prince dressed her in the silken gown, placed her in the palanquin, and took her to the city. But as they left, his eyes fell on the orange tree by the stream. He uprooted it and planted it in the garden outside his chambers. Tormented by grief, he thought, after all my trials, reaching the garden, picking those fruits, losing those maidens, and now this. How can I face my parents who warned me not to go? He clung to a faint hope that the girl might regain her beauty in time. Now, listen to the tale of the orange tree in the garden. The prince and the servant girl noticed it grew unnaturally fast, and when the wind blew, it seemed to moan. The servant girl, suspecting its origin, told the prince, "I want a bed made from that tree. Call the master carpenter and have him craft it as I wish." Caught in her deception, the prince obliged. The carpenter uprooted the tree and took it to his workshop. As he prepared to saw it, a mournful wail came from the wood. At that moment, the hunchbacked old woman appeared. She took a cutting from the tree's root and crafted it into a spindle, keeping it as a spare in her storage chest. Days later, when she returned from the market, she found her house swept, her yard sprinkled, and her dishes washed. Astonished, she wondered who could have done it. The next time she left, she pretended to lock the door but hid in the garden. Soon she heard noises inside, crept to the door, and burst in. There stood a maiden, radiant as the full moon, tidying the room. The maiden froze at the sight of the old woman. "Bless you, child," the old woman exclaimed. "Who are you?" The maiden recounted her story, from the garden to her death at the servant girl's hands, and how she emerged from the spindle. The old woman's heart warmed. "You shall be my daughter, and I'll set things right for you." From then on, they lived happily, chatting by lamplight each night. Meanwhile, the prince was consumed by sorrow, wondering when the servant girl would regain her former beauty. His parents, seeing his distress, summoned the royal physician, who said to cure his melancholy, he needs a chain of water glass, crafted like a collar to wear around his neck. The king consulted his advisors, who suggested sending heralds to find someone skilled in crafting such a chain. The call went out, promising a grand reward. When the maiden heard this, she told the old woman, "Go tell them I can't make the chain, but I need a secluded courtyard and a true mirror." The old woman relayed the message, and the king granted her a courtyard near the prince's palace, complete with a mirror. The prince, told that a girl was crafting the chain to ease his sorrow, hid on the rooftop to watch. The maiden entered the courtyard, sat by the fountain, and placed the mirror before her. She began speaking to it, and the prince, listening, heard her recount his journey to the garden. As he leaned closer, he saw in the mirror the garden, the maidens, and every detail of his tale. Her death, the servant girl's deception, the orange tree, and her rebirth from the spindle. Fury and joy surged within him. He rushed down, swept the maiden into his arms, and carried her into his palace. He summoned his mother, told her everything, and she informed the king. The harem gathered around the maiden, marveling at her beauty and charm. The king ordered the city adorned for 7 days and nights, and a grand wedding was prepared. The servant girl was summoned and asked, "Do you choose a swift horse or a sharp sword?" She replied, "A sharp sword for my enemies, a swift horse for me." They brought a wild mule, tied her braids to its tail, and set it loose in the desert. The old woman whose bowl the prince had broken was brought to the palace and honored as a guest in the harem. And so, the prince and the orange and citron maiden lived happily, their love a tale woven into the kingdom's heart forever.
Today's story is over. Thank you for your support. Don't forget to like and support us for another day and another story. May God bless you.